If today's sermon seems to be a little bit quicker than normal, it's because our sister Hannah has to leave at noon on the dot in order to be where she is picked up and carried to begin her basic training and boot camp. So I don't want their getting up and leaving to distract us, but if something happens and I get a little long-winded, Lisa, go ahead. But Hannah, please know our prayers are with you. This is Mother's Day, as we have already alluded to, and most of you know this. I hope that your family has treated you well already this morning. I know we have some visitors that are here that are visiting their mothers, as this is a time of the year where every year this time we give honor to our mothers. It's a day for you. And you as mothers should be especially proud and happy because your family does love you. Your family appreciates you. Your family should respect you. And I know there are times when families have their odds, but it's still a special day for our mothers. And God has given a special place for mothers in our home. When you look at 1 Timothy chapter 1, verse 5, we see that Paul, writing to Timothy, is giving praise to two particular women. It's his mother and his grandmother who raised Timothy to be a godly man, who taught him God's Word. And many times that's exactly what a mother does. A mother is one that teaches God's Word to their children because they spend a lot of time with their children while the dad is at work. And even if the mother has to work, when she's home, a lot of times it's the mother that goes to take her children to bed and says a prayer with them before they go to sleep. In Proverbs chapter 31, in this chapter, the Bible speaks about a godly mother. Now, we're not going over all the qualities or characteristics of a godly mother here, but we're going to look at a few things. In verse 11, we see that she is trusted by her family. So a godly mother or a good mother is one that is trusted. In verses 12 through 15, she is a lady that takes care of her family. In verses 17 through 21, she has endless strength even though our mothers get tired. It seems like they always have the strength to keep on. But among other things, especially verse 30, says that she is a person who fears God. So a good mother, a godly mother, is a woman that respects God, honors God, and follows God's way. And this is what makes a good mother in a home. While some of us don't have our mothers today, others do. But regardless, if your mother is here or mother is not, if your mother's not here any longer, thank God for her, for what she did for you. And if she is here, make sure that you thank her for what she has done for you. Make sure you give her a hug and a kiss and say thank you. And those that mothers have gone on, keep the memories alive in your heart and cherish your mothers. If you will, look in Matthew chapter 15. And beginning in verse 4, Jesus tells us something about our children, how they are, what we should do for our parents, but especially for mother, because Jesus said God commanded, honor your father and your mother. And whoever reviles father or mother must surely die. That word honor means to respect, to revere, even to take care of. Children were required to, during this time, to financially support their parents under the old law. But some children were trying to get out of this responsibility. And they would say that they couldn't help because they gave their money to God, and so they didn't have the money to help. And so Jesus said, you need to respect and honor and take care of your mothers. And there, as he would, when he took the word honor from the Greek, he added this definition to the word honor: to fix the value belonging to oneself. How much is a mother worth to you, children? Husbands, how much is your wife worth to you in taking care of the home? This is the idea that we need to respect and honor our wives and our mothers. So today, let's honor. Let's honor our mothers by asking and answering the question, what are the characteristics of a good and great godly mother? As I was researching for this sermon, I looked and I found some quotes by mothers. And they were asked the question, what does it mean to be a mother? And for you that are mothers here today, I want you to ask that question or answer that question. What does it mean to you to be a mother? Well, here are some of the questions, some of the answers that we got or that was given for this question. The first answer was, a mother is a teacher. A mother teaches her children so many things. For a daughter, maybe to cook and to clean and how to love and to love her future husband one day. How to show respect. To the son, he needs to learn to love his future wife. So she needs to be a teacher first and foremost of God. What it means to be a Christian by our example. Another mother said, well, for me, to be a mother is a gift. And it's a privilege. You know, the Bible speaks about that children are a heritage of God. Heritage from God, rather. And we are only, as parents, given a short time to have this privilege, to have this gift, to raise them up, to be honorable and to respect God. And these 18 years, Lisa, no doubt have gone by really fast. Another lady said, it's the greatest job there is. And I want you to understand that being a mother is a job. Sometimes we don't respect the women who take on this responsibility as the job that it is. They do it because they want to. They don't get paid for it. A lot of times it's a thankless job. But it is a job, a great job. Another one said, well, for me to be a mother, it's sleepless nights, belly laughs. In other words, that I'm always there, laughing with my children, but also I'm there when my children are sick. When my children need me and my child is out on a date and I've got one ear listening for the door to open and my eyes are closed, but I'm just waiting for that door to open up and my child to come in and say, Mom, Dad, I'm home, I'm safe. Another said, it's finger painting and stubbed toes. You know, a mother is the one that always gets the first aid. She's the nurse of the family. Whenever a child hurts himself or has a splinter or whatever it is, the first thing a child does is, Mom! There was a time when Stephen hurt himself and Nancy was at the house. Stephen comes in, he says, Dad, where's Mom? I said, I'm not sure. She's somewhere in the house. Why? What do you need? I hurt myself and I need Mom. Well, why can't I help you, son? You're not Mom. It's something about a mom's love that makes all the boo-boos go away, right? Another mother said, it's the job of seeing the world through the eyes of my children. You see, I need to see how they see. John Bannister made a good point today in class, how children can be fighting tooth and nail when they're out playing together, and the next minute they're hugging one another and loving one another. You know, a child is not racist at all, is it? How do they become racist? From the parents. So, we need to learn to see the world from the view of a child. Another mother said, I'm an emotional blanket. In other words, when my child doesn't feel good, I'm there to comfort them. When my child has a broken heart because of a boyfriend or whatever it is, I'm here to comfort them. Another mother said, I'm giving the tools to my children to be happy in life. And friends, the best tool that a child can get from the mother or father is the tool to be a faithful Christian. Another one said, I'm the security blanket when they hurt. All these things that I read, all these things that I saw were things that I experienced as a child, that I grew up. All these things is what I wanted from my mother. All these things is what my wife gave to her children, our children. But there's more to it. There's more to being a mother than just the few things that we looked at here. What is a mother? A mother is a communicator. What does it take to communicate? It takes one mouth and 2 ears. We need to listen. We have 2 eyes. We need to watch and to see. But we have a mouth to give instruction. We have a mouth that we can read Bible scriptures to our children. We have a mouth that we can have Bible time, story time with our children. We have our ears, our eyes, and our mouth so that we communicate with our children adequately, not to get on to them all the time, but to praise them when they do something wonderful and good. Friends, in our homes today, there are children that are hurt all the time by the hatefulness of words that are spoken to them from their parents. Words destroy, regardless who they come from. And if we tell our child that they are worthless, that they're no good for anything, our children will eventually get to believe that. And that's the reason why, as parents, we need, especially as mothers, we need to be a communicator that communicates well to our child. But communication is also giving 100% attention to the child when the child comes up to the mom. It's not, I don't have time, honey, right now. Mama's cooking dinner and I don't have time to talk to you right now. When we start telling our children we don't have time for them anymore, our children will find someone else to listen to us. Communication is also teaching. And that's what Jesus said when He said to honor our parents. And that's the reason why Timothy was told to remember your mother and your grandmother. They taught you about God. So a mother is a good communicator. But also a mother is consistent in being a parent. There is some consistency. And what I mean by that is that as a mother, there's got to be some rules and there's got to be some boundaries. And these boundaries and rules need to be set around the children. And children need to understand that going beyond these rules, going beyond these boundaries, there are consequences. Our country is not teaching children that there is consequences to their actions. We see this now with the way the court system is and with criminals being released from jail. They just slap them on the hand and tell them to go. Friends, I'm not saying that every home had this problem, but they learned that somewhere. Children learn this somewhere. And it may be that the parents did not set boundaries. It could be that the youth growing up when they were young did not have any type of boundaries or rules, or were not punished. You know, I see this every once in a while on Facebook with some of my friends, and they have a young toddler, and this young toddler is doing something that's really not the right thing to do, and mom and dad and all the people around are just laughing at it. What are we teaching our child when we laugh at what they're doing is wrong? Friends, the thing about it is boundaries give our children structure. And structure gives our family strength when they grow up. So we need to be consistent, but we need to teach that there's consequences to action. Now, don't get me wrong. Every one of us slip up. I slip up, you slip up. I ask God to forgive me on a daily basis of things that I mess up with. But there are consequences. If I do something to my body and I abuse my body, there are consequences to my body. And when I do something that is wrong at work, I understand that there are consequences. But the consequences, friends, and for a child needs to fit the crime. If you mess up at work on a small degree, you probably will not get fired unless you do it on a continuous basis. But however, if you make a larger mistake, the greater the consequences are going to be. If my child lies to me, there needs to be a consequence. If my child steals, there needs to be a consequence. If my child hits their brother or sister, there needs to be a consequence. But the consequence needs to fit the crime. Threats don't work with a child. Because a threat not carried through, the child realizes that they can just about get away with anything. We need to teach our children wisdom, moms. Sometimes as our children grow up to be teenagers, they don't think that mom and dad know what they're talking about. That they're not wise. But in fact, many times that when moms and dads are trying to teach wisdom to their child is because they went through this very same thing. Oh, let me tell you, Hannah, I thought I was the smartest person in the world when I was 18, 19 years old. I thought I knew it all. I'm going to go into the Navy. And I wanted to go into the Navy because I kept watching MASH. I thought that the Navy was going to be like MASH. I get into boot camp, and the first time I'm allowed to call home, I say, Daddy, get me out of this. But see, they tried to tell me. I learned. Children, teenagers, listen to mom and dad. They do know what they're talking about. They're not trying to kill fun. They're just trying to keep you safe. In Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6, the Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Never quit teaching your child about God, dear friends, and the importance of serving God. In Proverbs chapter 1 and verse 9, it says, for they are graceful garland for the neck, or for your head, and pendants for your neck. Who are your children? Parents. You're proud of them. And when they do something good, congratulate them. Tell them, thank you. You did a good job. I'm very proud of you. Let them know that. We're, as parents, told to watch out for our children. In Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 9, Moses records to only take care and keep your soul diligently, lest you forget the things that your eyes have seen, lest they depart from your heart all the days of your life. Children. And he's writing this to the parents. Make them known to your children and your children's children. Make what known? God's law. God's rules. And chapter 6 and verses 4 through 9 of this same book, Moses writes, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. And these words that I command you today shall be on your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall talk to them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. You shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be on the frontlets between your eyes. You shall write them on the doorposts of the house and on the gates." Teach our children wisdom, or teach your children wisdom and godly respect. Be patient. Patience is another thing that maybe some of us have trouble with. We need to learn to be patient with our children. They're growing. They're learning as they are growing up. That's the reason why we're teaching them boundaries. And that's the reason why when they mess up, there are consequences. And that's the reason they are punished according to the crime. Be patient, friends. The reason why is God's patient with you and I, isn't He? What if we got punished for our mess-ups? What if God punished us every time that we messed up? And not give us a chance to say, "God, I'm sorry." God is patient with us. And He wants us to be patient with our children. But I do understand, as a parent, I do understand our patience runs thin, doesn't it, Mom and Dads? I understand that. So what do? We need to learn to get away from the situation for a moment. Maybe send the child off to the room and say, "I'll be in there in a minute to talk to you." And then we need to sit back and remember how much love that we have for that child. And that's the same love that God has for us. And then go in patiently and talk with the child. We need to learn to laugh and enjoy time with our children. We need to learn to do things together as a family. Life is not about work only. And when we as parents put work before our children, we are hurting our child. A day is coming, dear friends, that your child will no longer be home. Then what are you going to do? Oh, I remember the day that Jessica, our last child, went to college. Nancy and I went through the house. A quiet house. No children around. No talk, no words like, "Dad, Mom, Stephen's picking on me. Dad, Mom, Jessica is hitting me." What are you going to do when there's no longer these words? We need to learn to depend on our phone calls with our children. And those calls will be less and less. And even visits will be less and less. You know, Nancy and I are going on 2 years that we haven't seen Stephen and Anna, Canyon and Caden. Now, of course, that was due to the pandemic, the borders being closed. And so we haven't been able to see our children and hug our children. You know, that's the thing about it. You get to hug them. Children, this is why I say don't forget your mom today. And Dad's is next month, okay? It's Father's Day in June. Moms, we need to practice what we preach. Dads too. But you think about it, the short time that we have to educate our children about what they are to do, to be pleasing to God. We don't need to be a hypocrite. We tell them to do this or don't do this, and then we're seen doing those very things. Our children are not dumb. They see it. Don't tell them not to lie, and then they see you lie. Don't tell them not to talk about others and then they see you talking about others to your friends. Look at 1 Peter chapter 3. Look at beginning in verse 1. The Bible here says, "Wives, be subject to your own husbands, so that even if some do not obey the word, they may be won without a word by their conduct of the wives. And when they see your respectful and pure conduct, do not let the adorning be external, the braiding of hair, the putting on gold jewelry, or the clothing you wear, but let your adorning be the hidden person of the heart." Folks, let your heart shine by being the light. Matthew chapter 5 verse 6, "Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your God which is in heaven." Friends, that light is our heart. Practice what we preach. See your mistakes, moms, dads. See your mistakes. See your failures. Apologize to your children when necessary. Sometimes we don't want to seem weak. Some reason we think that when we apologize, that makes us seem frail and weak, and our children don't respect us. But when we say, "Honey, Daddy is sorry," or "Honey, Mom is sorry for what they did. I was wrong," and you hug them and you love on them and you say, "Please forgive me," it's still a teaching moment. Stay active in your children's life. School events are important to our children, and we need to be in attendance. Sports events are important to our children, and parents need to be in attendance whenever possible. Be active, in other words, in your child's life. And friends, it's not all about school and sports. Be active. Ask questions. Go on walks together. Do things as a family together. Go on picnics together. Talk to one another. Maybe that's the problem with our society, is that families don't talk anymore. Instead of talking with one another, instead of eating with one another, everybody is at separate ends of the table or in the living room playing on the phone while eating with a fork. Not long ago, Nancy and I went to Pigeon Forge, and we went to a dinner show. And sitting in front of us was a mother and a father and two daughters. And Nancy kind of hit me and told me, "Look, the mom and dad were enjoying the show and eating and enjoying company with the one daughter, but the other daughter was down with her head into her phone, taking a bite every now and then, never looking up at one time." That's not doing things as a family, friends. When I say do things as a family, turn the phones off. Turn the TVs off. Do things as a family. And friends, that's what we need to do as a church family. The same thing. You know, one of the things that Stephen and Jessica remember fondly about my parents is all the times that my dad and my mother sat at the kitchen table and played games with them. That's memories. And then finally this morning, most importantly, love your child. I know that sometimes our children can make us mad. Mothers, I know there are sometimes that the daddies make you mad. I understand this. But love them. That's most important. And 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4 through 7 speaks about the importance of love. And love not only needs to be in the church, but it needs to be in the home. It needs to be shown to our children. In Isaiah chapter 66 and verse 13, Isaiah records, "Can a woman forget her nursing child, that she should have no compassion on the son of her womb?" Even these may forget, yet I will not forget you. There is a bond in the family, and it will only get stronger when a family loves one another, regardless if that is the family of God or the physical family. What is a mother? Plainly put, it is a person that loves God and raises her child to follow God's way. I made it with 10 minutes to spare, Lisa. And maybe there's someone here this morning that needs to obey the gospel. If there is, why not? Why not now? Don't wait. If there's someone here that needs to say, I love you to my mom, to your mom, do it before it's too late. Tell them you thank them for what they did. Mothers, I thank you. Today is your day. I hope that your family cherishes and honors you. If you need to respond to the invitation, please do it as together we stand and sing.